Where's everybody at? Maybe you will have powers as well. Man, man, man. Been a rough day, folks. Rough day, rough day, rough day. What's up, people? How y'all doing? I'm not ready tonight, I'm gonna tell you. The power's gone out a couple times. I still got thunderstorms in the area. So if I duck out, I'm gonna try to get in and get out. I don't want all of this stuff to get stuck. I feel like my grandma. Remember how your grandmother used to say, "Y'all turn off that lights, turn off the TV, find some place to sit down." Lightning ain't nothing to play with. All right, grandma. That's the way I feel right now. We got thunderstorms moving through the area. I lost power a couple times. So I don't know how long this is going to last, folks. Where's everybody? Where's everybody? I'm going to jump in, jump out. This is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. My, nothing to talk about. I guess everybody's talking about Queen Mom, Queen Elizabeth II. So I'm gonna get in, get out. It's half the hour. I'm gonna try to get in. I'm gonna try to say what I got to say. I'm gonna make it short and really short and sweet tonight, folks. Um, I've got really bad weather coming through here. Lightning is and thundering and all of that. So um, I lost most of my stuff on my computer. I was in the act of editing, and the power went out, and I didn't get a chance to save it. And what was recovered, I don't know where this was recovered from, but this don't look like anything that I had to save. So anyway, good evening, folks. How y'all doing? How you doing? I guess everybody's having a little inclement weather. Been keeping our eyes on the, I guess you call it the hurricanes, and it looked like they're going off into the Atlantic. But we've just been getting. This was the driest April. I've been in Florida for about 4 years now, and this is the driest April. This was the driest April I ever saw. Uh, hey, what's up, girlie? How I'm coming through on YouTube? Wall to wall tall? Bring this over here so I can see what I'm doing. Um, really bad weather, really bad weather. We had a dry April, and I think we're gonna have to revise the song. It used to be April showers bring May flowers. We're gonna have to say July, August showers mean rain out for the rest of the year. Shit don't rhyme, and it ain't funny, man. It's kind of crazy. On one hand, I'm not complaining because my yard could actually use the rain. On the other hand, it's been raining so much that I'm having to cut the yard like every week. And then trying to find a day when it's not raining to actually cut the grass. So anyway, it is what it is. I've got 2 past the half. I usually mess around till about 5 or 6 past the half hour and go from there. But I think tonight with all of this crazy weather, I'm gonna try to just get in, get out, say what I gotta say, and be done with it. Um, 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 um. That's the first thing they teach you in public speaking. Stay away from words like and dead space. But I'm gonna go ahead and start the show. I see a couple people here. I usually wait, but tonight I don't know how long I'm gonna have power, et cetera, et cetera. So let me go ahead and get started. I want to say good evening and welcome to the show. As always, I want to say thank you for choosing to spend your Thursday night with me. Of all the things you could be doing, you choose week in, week out to come here, listen to my analyses of what's going on, and talk about how we could kind of make things better. For that, that support is humbled. My name is Hank Batiste. My show is called OMITdaLOGIC. This shit makes no sense. I'm your host tonight, and the voices in my head are fearful. With this bad weather, it's nothing to play with, and with all being surrounded by all of this equipment, I feel like I've got a lightning rod in my hand. So stick with me in this mood. It's not as upbeat as I usually am. It's the voices in my head tonight are their wits end. It seems like every time a Republican loses an election, they will be screaming from henceforth voter fraud. Surprise. I guess they're following suit with the knucklehead. Before we go any further, I have some English friends. I have some friends from across the pond. And I guess the world is mourning Queen Elizabeth II, so I would be remiss if I didn't at least say rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. This lady sat on the throne for 70 years, 72 years. Wow, that's momentous in and of itself. If you know who could sit on the throne for 12 years, he would just be beside himself. So Knucklehead had the audacity to come out and wanted to make a speech like somebody needs to tell him he no longer has any office. You know, he can't speak as a head of state. He can't speak as a diplomat. You know, he can give his condolences, but he didn't sound presidential when he was in the White House. So now it's just more than ludicrous. It's beyond funny. Folks, we got 61 days till the midterms, and I'm ready for it to be over, and I'm sure you are too. As we start to move forward, like I said, tonight, I'm just going off the top of my head. Most of my talking points I lost when the power went off. So I'm just kind of winging it here, folks. That, and I'm listening for thunder and lightning. Listening for thunder and looking out for lightning. The craziness down here in Florida has started. We start talking about taking additional seats in the Senate, and Val Demings has a really good chance of doing it. And they've really stepped up the money to bash her in the news. Now, this woman was a social worker. She was the chief of police in Orlando. Audacity to say that she's soft on crime and she wanted to do away with police force. That So they took what she said during Black Lives Matter and twisted it around to create a soundbite to deliver their message. Person she's running against is Marco Rubio. He's been around for a while now, and he's done nothing in Congress as a senator. So I think Val Demings would do a heck of a job. And I'm sure, I meant to reach out to a couple people because I'm sure the same thing is happening in your neck of the woods. So don't listen to the sound bites. Don't listen to all of that chatter. Don't listen to the propaganda. Now is where they try to create a narrative to make the good person look bad, so forth and so on. So if they're doing it in Florida, I know they're doing it in all of the swing states, be that Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania has a really tight race. Michigan, Ohio, Arizona, Nevada, so forth and so on. So anywhere they can make inroads, they're pushing up this, what I call a black magic. McCarthy has come out of the woodwork because Biden was talking about, since they always want to call it Democrat socialists, Biden came out and called the Trumpublicans fascists. So we got into this name calling things, and I guess we're going to be doing that for the next 61 days. Anyway, folks, tonight's show is called 61 Days. Will there be one? My name is Hank Batiste. This is OMITdaLOGIC. This shit makes no sense, but we're going to make it make sense. Let's do this. First up, guess who's slowly making public appearances again? Starts with a H and ends with a Clinton. You guessed it, Hillary Clinton. Some reporter was talking to her the other day, and she kind of let the cat out the bag that she may be looking to run in 2024. Now, let me just say this, and if I piss the women off, so be it. I don't want a figurehead just to say we had a female president. And I will concede that after the last knucklehead, and at times with Biden even, we don't have the best person. But it's time to start seeking out the best candidate instead of we saying your turn, your turn, your turn, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a president by the toe. I've had enough of that. It's time to get someone who can step up to the plate and deal with what's happening in our society right now. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. And again, if I piss the women off, so be it. When they started to talk about naming Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, said it was a bad choice. I said she didn't have the leadership ability. And it came to fruition. So be it prophetic or Creole powers or just my analysis, it is what it is. I also said, if you remember, looking back, I said initially nobody thought that Trump had a chance. And so many women, it's not that they were voting initially for Trump, they were voting against Hillary. There are two female politicians out there who are very abrasive, and they're not the only ones, but they always want to run for this number one office. And I would love to see the best president, be it black, white, Puerto Rican, Haitian, male, female, or whatever the case may be. But moving into 2024, first we got to get past 2022 in these midterms. But come November the 9th, we're going to start talking about who should be running and who we should be putting our support behind. And ladies, please do me a favor. Don't just jump on the bandwagon simply because it's a woman. You know what I mean? We need the right person. I said when Joe Biden, I was one of the first to say, run, Joe, run. I said he was the best person to dethrone Trump because he had universal appeal across the party lines, and be it the conservatives, the progressives, some of the old heads, some of the traditionalists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that forecast was right. But the other thing I said, if you remember, and I'm just kind of reminding you of some of the things that we've been talking about for the last 3 years or so. I said that Biden would be a one-term president. A, because he's getting up in age. B, because I felt like he was the best person to kind of work us out of this trend, Trumpisms, and get back to something else. When he talked about recapturing the soul of America, I said that was a great idea because we just had gone so far left. They said right, I said left. Sinister, that we needed someone who could kind of do some things. Biden started off fast and then he slowed down. He hit this mansion in the road and he had a flat tire and it took him a few months to change that flat. Now he's kind of back on track. A, because he's swinging for the fences. He feels like he has nothing to lose. B, it just needs to be done. So it is what it is. If we have another Hillary and Donald showdown, I am so afraid that history is going to repeat itself because there are still a lot of women that do not like Hillary. It is what it is. Moving on. Trump and company. I just call it the bad and ugly. I'm tired of hearing about how close the Justice Department is to filing charges and all of this. And now they're talking about Steve Bannon and the chance that he will probably be in jail before the fraud charges are filed against him. I just want to see results. I want to see results. So Merrick Garland, if you're listening, stop thinking about public opinion and just do what needs to be done. Even his former AG, Attorney General Bill Barr, I call him Dan Connors because he looks like John Goodman to me. He says, with all of the evidence that they've been getting, now let's talk about the evidence. Let me just kind of take a little detour. The evidence that some of the things that they seize, every day we're hearing about more and more substantial paper or top secret documents. Now they're saying he was taking nuclear documents for us as some of our quote unquote allies and what have you. And I saw this media story that says this sent off red flags because this would be the easiest thing to sell. Show of hands, who thinks that Donald Trump will profit from selling something to a foreign agent? Oh, he did that with Russia. My bad. Moving on. I'm just tired of hearing the we this close, we this close. Let's make something happen. And we'll deal with the repercussions afterwards. So Lindsay promised that if Trump was arrested, if Trump was prosecuted, then there would be riots in the street. There's enough knuckleheads to try that. But I think if the FBI, if local if local law enforcement and what have you did what they needed to do and made a show of force that would dissuade some of these people, because they're not true patriots. Some of them have nothing to lose, so they would easily put their lives on the line. But others are true cowards, and the only way they have this false sense of power is when they're in this what I call mob mentality. There's lots of them and only a few of us. So let's step up to the plate and just be down for whatever, ready for whatever, and get this done. This is the number one when we start to talk about people who, let me leave that alone. Let's move on. I said that since the 2020 elections, now anytime a Republican loses an election, he or she is going to be talking about voter fraud. Last week, I told you that Sarah Palin tried to make a political comeback. She tried to run she ran for U.S. representative in Alaska, and she lost to a Democrat. So now she's following the Donald clue and says there may be voter fraud. No. Get it through your head. When you lose, it's because nobody cares for you. There were lots of Republicans that won. There's lots of Republicans that are winning now. So you Republicans that are not winning, you Republicans that are losing, you're losing because nobody likes you. You're not invited to the party. So, poof, be gone. It is what it is. Folks, I'm trying to get this done and get out of here. This is some crazy weather. So if you just tuned in, my power's gone out a couple times. I'm listening to lightning and thunder and thunderstorms. So I'm trying to get this done. So if I sound rushed, if I sound a little on edge, it's real. What's on voters' minds right now is more people coming to the realization that what happened on January the 6th could happen again. Because I was one of the first people to call it a failed coup attempt, a coup d'etat, where a false government tries to take over the elected government or the proper government. And there were two fries away from that Happy Meal. So I said the coup continues. Why? Because when Congress decided that they were more afraid of these domestic terrorists, that they shut down, Congress shut down, it gave them a false sense of courage. It gave them the bravado to carry on. And then Knucklehead just kept stirring the pot. So that's where we are now, folks. On voters' minds, the number one thing that they are concerned about, or we are concerned about, is this threat to democracy, this threat to how we live as we live now. And this is what's causing so much angst and anxiety moving towards November the 8th. So I'm going to say this. If you didn't vote in the primaries, make sure you show up on November the 8th. Because if you think Roe v. Wade is crazy, that's the tip of the iceberg. And this iceberg, I promise you, if we have this much above the water, there's this much beneath the surface. So we don't need to spiral down into where we were. We don't need this resurgence of hate and white supremacy to have a so-called commander-in-chief or so-called president embrace hate and hate groups and so-called white nationalists and stir the pot between the have-nots. So Trumpism, fascism in its truest sense. I won't call them fascists. I'll call them Trumpsters, Trumpettes, Trumpies, and I call it Trumpism. That's the most dangerous thing to us right now. And how we fight it is to do the same thing we did in 2020. So November 9th, let's start talking about someone who can fix this. But for right now, all eyes, call November the 8th Tupac, and all eyes on him. So, folks, I hear it, and I'm getting through this. A few days ago, I heard this thing about Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is the cop that put his knee on George Floyd's neck. He's being moved because they say that it's dangerous for him inside. To that, I say that's special treatment. Whether you're a crook, a cop, once you break the law, you're no longer a cop. You're a crook. So simply because one time you had a badge doesn't mean that you should be shown any special treatment. So leave Chauvin ass right where he is. And while we're talking about, remember Amber, the one who shot I can't think, Jean, the young man in Dallas who was sitting in his living room. And she walked into his apartment. He was sitting there on the sofa eating ice cream. She walked into the apartment and shot him while she was talking to a supervisor on the phone, making a date. So she was so caught up in this that she did this. I know you remember it because I was pissed off to the utmost of pissosity and beyond when I saw the black female bailiff running her hands through her hair and fixing her hair. When I saw the black judge come down off the bench and give her a Bible. So all of these one-time police, if you go your ass to jail, you should be treated like anyone else. I don't say if they choose not to put you in general population, then so be it. But here's the thing. If you're a crook, if you're a baller, if you're a drug dealer, if you're a murderer, if you're a rapist, if you're any of these things, any of those people that break rules and laws and are convicted and sentenced, it's just as dangerous for them. So let's not show these cops any special favors, any privileges. Folks, I'm hearing things and I can't even concentrate on this. Last thing, I almost sent out a feeler saying that tonight's show was going to be canceled. But I didn't want to do that because you folks show up every week to support me. And I say this time and time again. I'm truly, truly humbled by that. And if you're going to show up, then I'll take the chance of playing with the weather. But it's a fool's game. So I'm going to say this. Tonight is about 61 days. Let me recap. Tonight's about 61 days. This week and some people are trying to look beyond November. I'm saying let's focus on November 1st. But I'm also sending out some warnings, really to my ladies, my sisters. Be you white or black or Puerto Rican or whatever. Don't just jump on the bandwagon because a woman chooses to do something. Look at what that woman represents. And to all of us, let's stay engaged. Let's stay involved so that we're not picking from the lesser of the two evils. There's got to be some good people out there. And I think it's up to us to get behind them, to make some changes. Last but not least, this Trumpism thing, we're tired of hearing about how close you are to sending Bannon to jail, how close you are to arresting Trump. And between you and I hope that I'm wrong, I think they're more afraid of that 10% of his followers that would put themselves on the line. But if they just make this knucklehead, and here's the thing, if they come right out and say that he's not qualified to run, then he's going to claim victimism. And that's going to make him into a living, breathing martyr. So we have to go a step further. All that shit that he did while he was in the White House, all that illegal shit he did on November the 4th, 2020, when it was obvious that he had lost the election, those calls he made to Georgia, those calls he made to Pennsylvania, those calls he made to Michigan, those calls he made to Nevada and Arizona, he needs to be held accountable for that. That's all I got for you tonight, folks. I made it through this show, but I'm gonna tell you this: go to my YouTube, sign up, subscribe, share my shows with other folks. Tonight's show is under duress, but because you're here, I'm gonna be here, and I appreciate that. So as always important, I will see you next week, right here, same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place, and hopefully in better weather and under different circumstances. As always important, I wish you love. I wish you peace, my people. I love you. Ain't a damn thing you could do about it because you show you down for me. And most of all, I wish you hair grease. I'm out of here. Good night, folks. I made it. Hey.